trig graph discovery level 2. Okay, write the equation of the trigonometric graph. So our foundation is y equals a. This is a sine graph. Bx plus d plus c is our foundation. All right, where a is amplitude, b affects period, d is our phase shift to the left or right, or on the x, c is our midline phase shift. All right, so as we look at this, here's our original in black. This is a sine function, and then we're asked to match it right here. So already we see that it's lowered. So lowered means the midline is going to be affected. How do we find midline? Well, midline is the max plus the min divided by 2. And that would be, and this is y equals for the midline. And then the maximum on our new one is at 0. The minimum is at -2. So the max would be 0. The minimum is -2 and divided by 2. This turns into -2 over 2, which is equal to -1. So y is equal to -1 for our midline. So -1 is right here. So this is -1. And then if you notice, if this is our starting point, we started going down first. So that means it flipped over basically the x-axis, or it flipped over the midline. Do you know or remember what flips a midline? Or sorry, what flips our curve over the midline? That would be our amplitude. So a negative a flips over midline. Or it's kind of like an x flip. It flips over like whatever the x, like an x-axis, right? But it just means negative right there. And there is no adjustment on the amplitude. So this is 1 and 1 for our amplitude. The period is having maximums and minimums in essentially the same places. It's just they're alternating. This maximum is now this minimum, so there's no effect on the period. So that means the amplitude is -1. There's no effect on the period, so that's just 1. And then our midline is -1. And there's our match. Let's take a look at the next one. All right. So this is the same as we've been doing already. I don't think we've done a double one yet, so let's go ahead and do this double one. Write the equation of the trigonometric graph. All right. So sine function, first we need our midline. The midline max plus min divided by 2. And this is a y equals equation, so it's y equals. The maximum is 4. The minimum is -2 divided by 2. That gives us 4 minus 2 over 2. That gives us, it's supposed to be a 2. 2 over 2, which is equal to y equals 1. So our midline is 1. And where's 1 at? Y equals 1 is right here. That's our halfway point. And then our amplitude, what's our amplitude here? Let's go ahead and use the amplitude equation. So that's going to be our midline, which is C. The midline is also C. C, let's see, the maximum is 4. So it'd be C minus the max. Okay, so what's C minus the max? That would be our C is 1 right here. So it's 1 minus the maximum is 4. So and this is our amplitude I'm finding. Our amplitude, or A, 1 minus 4 is equal to negative 3. Did I do it in the wrong order? How about max minus the midpoint? So our maximum, yeah, you shouldn't have the max first. That's the biggest number. So that'd be 4. So this looks like it was off. Sorry about that. Max minus the midpoint of 1. That gives me 3. So what is our equation? The maximum. No, that's right. That's right. So A4 minus 1 is 3. So our amplitude is 3 there. I just lost my train of thought. So yeah, so this kind of threw me off. It's not negative 3, it's positive 3. We can't have negatives. The max should have gone first. So sorry about that. Amplitude is 3. And are our maximums and minimums in the same spot? Yes, they are. So there's no change here. So our B is 1. All right, so I got amplitude of 3, no effect on period, and then it moved up 1 unit. Okay, there we go. Still looking for a phase shift, or not a phase shift, a period shift, any change in period. So they're doing everything the same way. And then they want you to kind of look, it looks like just examining the period. Okay. How long does it take for it to repeat? And this one's the same. And this one's the same. So no change on any of these.